Hey, everybody. This is Todd with Black Spaces, and I am joined by the terrific duo, intergalactic duo. I'm always trying to come up with some phrase of Taliba and Naeem. Naeem and Taliba, how y'all doing? How y'all doing today?
Doing
Good,
great.
good.
All right. So we are here to discuss the Ahsoka series. We're going to give our general impressions, but we know you as fans are as interested to know what we may think is going to happen next. So we got these relationships. We've got now, Ahsoka and Sabine, Shin and Balin now on Peridea, but they're in, of course, Sabine and Ahsoka together, and Balin and Shin are divided. But they're now on Peridea. You got Thrawn and the Night Sisters back on Dathomir, I should say, with those ominous-looking floating coffins. Looking like y'all remember the old ice cream bins. You go, maybe I'm really old. You go into the store and you open up the big bin to get some ice cream. But anyway, so those floating coffins, and then you have, or maybe coffins, they may not, and then you have, of
Right.
course. We'll get back to that. And then you have Hera and Ezra reunited in the New Republic. Any predictions, thoughts about season 2, given those relationships?
Thinking about what you said about like how we can't see more about Sabine's character. That was one of my critiques as far as like season 1 in general. So season 2, I feel like there's going to be more character exploration because even
Okay, has to be right.
if you watch Mandalorian, you know about the planet Mandalore, so you know there was some destruction. So if
Right.
you follow that series, you're like, okay, this kind of makes sense. But if you're a newcomer, either you're intrigued to go back or hoping that they will explore it more in season 2. Same with Ahsoka, like why had more of why she's changed with it. She's changed.
Yeah.
So and more
Okay.
character exploration with Balin, because like me new to like, okay, so what does this mean?
Right.
Because I'm looking at him as like he's confused or what direction he needs to go into. Like he's kind of salty. He's like, Shin, you do your thing, and it looks as if she's found some allies. So I'm looking at for season 2, my prediction that they were kind of dig deeper into that and not make
Have
this
to.
a Thrawn series.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Otherwise, might as well go on to the Dave Filoni movie of the Thrawn movie with heirs to the Empire. But while you're on that, Talib, then let me turn to Naeem. There was a whole bunch of criticism about the reunion between Ezra and Sabine not being very emotional, right? That she risked all of this, hadn't seen him for 10 years, and the first things they do to each other is kind of give smart aleck remarks. I don't know. What do you think? Was that underplayed and or do you think that was they hit it about right?
I mean, I feel like they hit it right because
Okay.
those were the characters' relationships. I mean, they
Okay.
they were never romantically involved. It was more like a pseudo brother and sister type of
Right.
thing.
Right.
But again, they were never teary hug, snotty, oh my God, I miss you. But still, because Sabine lost all of her family in the bombing of Mandalore, the only person that she does feel like is family is
Right.
Ezra. So what she's looking for is some kind of semblance of normality. And the fact that they're zinging each other right as they see each other, that gives her that, oh God, I can breathe again. I have some kind of normalcy now.
Okay. Okay. But do y'all think that we really got? See, I was surprised that there wasn't at least a little tension by Ezra saying, "You did what to come save me?" So it was that whole question about, effectively she made that decision, against what Ahsoka, and now Ahsoka, I think, understands the nature of the decision and sees and agrees with is Wei Yun that she made the decision she should have made given how maybe she was compelled by the Force, but to me was, would Ezra immediately understand? Wait a minute, you just released the guy who I risked it all to imprison just to come save me? I don't know. Taliba, did you think that was a strange interaction or not a strange interaction to say that that Ezra wasn't a little upset that Sabine did all that just to save him?
I just think it's like with Sabine just finding herself. This whole
Okay.
thing is just about finding who she is, and he is a part of her past, So,
Okay.
but then it got to a point of like that's not all who she is. So she didn't go with him when he jumped when she helped him get to the ship.
That's right.
You know,
That's true.
it's like there's more. There's more. She doesn't. She was like, remember, it was a time in one of the episodes. She was like, "What am I doing?" It's just like, what am I doing?
Right.
So it's like she's still growing as a person,
Okay.
So because she tapped into the force, which is something that didn't come instantly. For some, it does, with a gift, but not with her. It's something that she really had to work on.
Okay.
Just like Ahsoka, everyone knew her as, this, badass character, and now she's more calm and zen and meditating on the ship, and all this chaos is
Ahsoka the
going
White.
on. Right. So, she's showing you can still have the same results,
Right.
even better results, but you don't have to be this rah. There's other ways to defeat your enemies. That's
Okay.
why Thrawn is so effective. Not once he's raised his voice.
No,
It's
no. You almost have to lean over to see what he say.
right. He's very
He's whispering.
calculating. So he's
Uh-huh.
showing like you can be just as effective.
Right.
So he proved it. He out.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Right. Naeem, I know we doubling back, but what did any other things that you saw in terms of that relationship again between Sabine and Ahsoka, or anything else? And we'll get back around to our season 2.
I think
Gotcha.
there's a lot of hidden things there because she's shown from the Rebel show she has an affinity of Force, and now that she's shown that she can control the Force at will. So this is actually quite groundbreaking because remember the last time that there was a Mandalorian Jedi was centuries ago that created the dark saber. So
Oh, okay.
that's
There you go.
a rarity in itself.
Right.
So
Right.
I think with her progression, she is going to, yes, she's going to control the Force, but just like how all of them are not your stereotypical Jedi, you know, she's not going to be your stereotypical Jedi as well. I also feel like, in regards to the other question about how Ezra reacted to Sabine, I mean, could Ezra really say anything after he made that plan to take him and Thrawn to the other universe without telling anybody what
Okay.
he was going to do? So he's kind of like fair,
Right. Right.
like
Right.
we all do our crazy things. It's a Jedi thing. Who said so? Like
Uh-huh.
y'all do wild stuff. Um, but yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of character development with Sabine, especially now that Ahsoka has essentially evolved into this Zen moment, patient, calm.
Right.
I get why you make your decisions because we are supposed to be here. Like she said, we're exactly where we need to be. This isn't a mistake.
Right.
It was supposed to play out like this.
Gotcha. Okay, so thus far, Taliba, you said there's going to be more character development. Has to be, or otherwise it's not the Ahsoka show.
Right.
We got to see that in season 2 from Ahsoka
Right.
and Sabine. What of Balin and Shin or other characters in terms of their development, or what you would predict for season 2?
I predict Shan is going to rally those troops that she found.
Okay.
Because she's like, I can do it. She didn't, she wasn't really all bored in with what Balin wanted to do because, it's just like, so she's going to figure out her own there because, they didn't jump and shoot her, so they
Right.
want to hear what she has to say. So we'll find out more about that. And Balin, I feel like they're going to develop, like, either he's going to find some type, communication because can't get off the planet. Neither one of them have a plane, only one plane on the planet. And
Mm-hmm.
we saw how long it took for them to come for Anakin, that was 10 years, right? So
For
there
Ezra, yeah.
has to be,
Right.
Ezra, has to be some type of, communication. No one knows where he's at. Morgan's dead. She could potentially come back, like you said, Naeem. Who knows?
He might
So I don't
he might
know
be
a
dead.
lot
Might be.
about the Balin character to really accurately say like this is what's going to happen next. But as a fan, I'm like I want to see what are his thoughts because the past two episodes it just showed him walking around.
Yeah.
Ain't not saying nothing. You're not thinking
Well, no,
nothing.
he's saying stuff like in a very veiled way. You're like, what does that mean? Yeah. So he's saying
Right.
stuff, but
So
you got to decode what he's saying, right?
right. So we like wait. So
Right.
I'll be interested to see what direction it will take with that. So I'm totally intrigued.
Okay. Naeem, what do you think? You voiced an interesting theory about what Balin was after, and so all this focus around Balin. What's he after?
I think Balin is in communication with the mother Abeloth because
Hmm.
I can see that that being would kind of be sick and tired of the Force, like the pain that it's caused her in her own view. So I think he's looking for something to essentially end everything and then maybe kind of like a Thanos restart it in another type of image.
Okay.
As far as Shin, as he said, like when he let her go, he knew that you're not about my life. Like you have ambition. You want to rise up in the ranks and command people and have power. So go, like tell Thrawn you found them and he'll reward you and all that other stuff. I'll do all of that stuff that you want. And I think she's so conflicted now, especially when Ahsoka offered her, like, hey, you want to come with us? And she's
Okay.
like, no. And then she's just kind of like being like this rebellious child. Now she found these other raiders and she's like, hey, I'm going to lead you because let's face it, nobody else here can beat me. So
Right.
I am the strongest warrior. I think they're going to conflict at some point because
Right.
she's going to want to dominate and he's going to be like, I'm not, listen, get either move out of my way or I'm going to kill you. And I think he's going to end up killing her.
Hmm. You know, there's this whole theory that folk have talked about with the ancient, is it the Zepho?
Yeah.
Zepho and the leader Kujat. And if you compare it, because Zepho comes from the game, correct? Or from the games like, was it Jedi Survivor or
I think so.
right? I think it's Survivor, maybe the Fallen Order, a little bit of that, whatever. And those raiders do have sort of some of the same image. I mean, all of this is drawn upon, sort of ancient Japanese culture, the samurai, the warrior's code, all of it,
Right.
very linked to Lucas's fascination, thus Filoni's fascination with some samurai, history and culture. But I think there's something more to the story as to why they're there. I don't think that they're going to be like people's critique of the Knights of Ren in the sequels of like, well, we don't. They were here, they did a little something, but then they didn't do much. I think we're going to find out something much more revealing about those raiders, and then I agree, that is going to set up a tension between Shin's commanding them versus what Balin wants them to do, because he says you want to join you have sort of aspirations with the Empire.
Right.
I assume it's the Empire in the Star Wars galaxy, but it might be another one, right? Because this is a whole new galaxy. And to me, that's why I thought it'd be a darn shame for everybody to go back to the Star Wars galaxy when you just discovered a whole new galaxy.
Right.
There's all these stories and all this lore in just one planet in that whole galaxy. Sorry, I'm getting loud. So
that we one planet that we know of, because
right.
something bothered me, and I'm like, not even the little tiny people Ezra's with, the other aliens, the bounty hunters.
Oh,
they
yeah.
seem to be very well equipped for someone who doesn't have space flight travel, unless they're getting supplies somewhere. So I think they're kind of like part of like a an organization that Maul was running, like a syndicate,
Could
and
be a
they're just
syndicate, right?
stationed there.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's definitely more to that universe than they're
Then
letting on.
Then to
the
let it on.
rocks around the planet.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
You think, yeah, you hear of no cities, you hear of no other civilization, just the castle and those big monoliths, those big statues. So might be something else to Peridea. I mean, there is Balin did see that light emanating from that mountain, and so that there
Mhm.
might be
right.
that might be some indication of civilization. There was no, and it's interesting. Thrawn nor Ezra talked about anything beyond it, so you got the sense that no, it was sort of a barren wasteland. But I'm curious. Thrawn had a ship. Wonder why he have visited other planets anyway.
If it was
Right.
capable, because he did take
Yeah,
a lot of damage
he did. You're
getting
right.
there.
You're right.
So
You're right.
And
And
I think that was the point of there. They were repairing the ship there.
that's
And
true.
then the Night Sisters were zapping in Morgan's dreams, talking with her.
Right.
So, because probably she was vulnerable, like, hey, we've
Right.
been looking for you.
That's right.
And we can, accomplish what we want to accomplish. Because that was what they said. They're like, that's why I'm like, I think the Night Sisters like, this was a waste. We get her.
Yeah, she got
Like,
knocked. It's like,
we did all of this,
we had,
but
yeah, yeah.
Thrawn
You're right, because
has
they had that big ceremony to convert her to a night sister, and then 30 minutes later, she dead.
and then it shows that Thrawn that is really about his mission
Right.
because they were not, to me, didn't have the look of being pleased when they said, well, Morgan's dead, and he was like, well, the show must go on, and they were kind of looked up, like, wait, now we could have saved that sword for someone else because there's some significance to it, so
but but
um
but Taliba, as you said in our pre-discussion, there's a difference between Thrawn saying for the Empire, or that's also naive. Your point of
right.
for the Empire when Elsbeth said no, well, she didn't say no, but she said for Dathomir.
Dathomir.
So
So it's
you can
just like
see that they're going to be diverging,
right. There's
at
no
some point.
common agenda. There's no common agenda there. And then I'm like, what happens to the sword?
Right, right, right.
something that also just kind of popped in my mind about that talk. What if in those coffins it's the males of their race? Because remember, Darth Maul comes from the males of their race.
I think
Okay.
it's weapons. I think it's weapons.
You think?
I don't think so. They don't use weapons like that. They're magic users.
Yeah, they're magic users. So I mean,
I don't know. It's just I don't think it's like before we thought it was some more troopers. I don't think it's that.
No,
So
I think it's
no.
the males because they always kept the males separate from the females, but they almost treated them like cattle too. So
Hmm,
I think it's their males, and their males are very formidable people to begin with,
hmm.
and they can enhance them like they did with Savage. So
Oh,
I
I see.
I think I think they have their own invasion type thing going. But they're sneaky. Like they have a plan under the plan.
I'm
So
sure. I'm
big
sure.
facts.
I'm sure. By the way, all of us, spoiler alert, all of us were wrong about the night troopers.
true
Right.
facts. Yeah.
Well, not all, because I did hear someone say, and I'll give a shout out to the commentator about, well, actually, I thought maybe the troopers were alive, but then could be killed and could become zombies. Why they didn't just cut their heads off or legs off, I don't know. But anyway,
Right.
it made a good effect, made a good Halloween effect. One thing I want to bring up for season 2, and we talked about this earlier, is the whole question of Thrawn and the Chiss ascendancy, right? So we haven't really heard any explicit references because Timothy Zahn's novels in creating the Thrawn character, and this Thrawn's a little different, although he's very similar, but this is Dave Filoni's Thrawn, little different in some respects. But Thrawn's original intent in being purposely exiled, as the subsequent Timothy Zahn books tell us, his purposeful intent in being purposefully exiled was to figure a way to join this empire and infiltrate the empire so that he could rise through the ranks, because there's also, the comics also convey this sense that Thrawn was discriminated against because the empire preferred humans, and not humanoids and not aliens. So there's even an instance where Thrawn faces discrimination or racism in the academy because he's a blue-skinned non-human, right? And so, but Thrawn's going to infiltrate the empire, then use the empire as an ally or help to reinforce the empire against a greater threat like the Grist or the Yuuzhan Vong, in Legends, and now the Grist are in canon, and the Grist are the outside invaders, who are a bigger threat than anything else in the galaxy, and so I'm waiting in season 2 for them to talk about Thrawn's, returning to his beloved Chiss, because that's what he's all about, his beloved Chiss. That because it's not about him, it's about the people, and that them playing into his greater plan against the Grist. Because again, the New Republic's too weak. That was Thrawn's
Right.
like, they're too weak to resist this threat. That's why we need the Empire to resist this threat. That's what I'm thinking. It's got to come out in season 2, or maybe the Thrawn movie. Mm-hmm.
The movie.
Yeah, probably the movie. Yeah, but I think without that, you really don't get you just get the sense that Thrawn is just on the side of the Empire. You don't see that he has his own plan. And Naeem, advance your thinking about the notion of what does Thrawn mean when he says the Empire?
I feel like he's always in his way of turning words and double meanings that his empire is referring to the Chiss Empire.
Right.
I just, he doesn't seem like someone who is super, Palpatine, yay, yes, this empire.
Right. Like, what? Palpatine's return?
Right. So it's clear that he has a greater, a bigger end game involved, because look how they introduced him in Rebels. He kept allowing things to, incidents to happen so he could start plotting all the courses from these incidents, only to triangulate that, okay, after all these 100 incidents that happened, they must be in this system. So for you to have such forward thinking like that, everything that he's doing is for the greater of the Chiss. He's just not saying so because there's no reason to say anything to anybody.
That's right. No, like the Night Sisters, like you were saying, Taliba, there's something going on and we don't know the other plan. And I don't think Thrawn's plan and the Night Sisters' plan are the same plan.
Oh, definitely not.
Definitely not the same plan. Uh-huh.
I highly believe that once he drops them off for Dathomir, that's concluded. See you. You do you. I'm gonna do me. Let's not cross each other's path again.
Right.
Right. And yeah. Any words about Ezra and Hera in the New Republic? Is that the biggest question mark, or the New Republic is just going to continue to be dumb?
It's going to continue to be there. I mean, because
I think they're going to fight it. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think, Taliba, in terms of the dumbness of the New Republic?
It's still going to be there, because even Ezra was rusty when they went. It was like, he really doesn't have any big clue about what's all been going on, the ins and outs. So
True.
I think it's just still, if anything, they'll go and rescue Ahsoka from there, provide some assistance out there, because he does know where they're at, So, but other than that, nothing's gonna change.
No,
nothing had to change in a lot of cross of the series of other ones that seem the same.
It wasn't gonna change now, right?
Right.
There's a whole discussion too, though, about where's Luke, Leia, and Han, right? And so, well, we know Luke is somewhere in the background in terms of this timeline and coming, sort of easing into the question of reforming the Jedi Academy. We know Leia is on the Defense Council, but she's probably going to become disenchanted and split off and create the Resistance. And then Hans, well, we know Hans is going to be rascally anyway, so he's probably going to split, shortly after, his relationship with Leia and them having a son. So yeah, that's also come up. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I would say they're all busy at this point, depending on the timeline wise. Because I think in 7, 8, and 9, Kylo was in his early 30s,
Uh-huh.
around there.
Right.
So if Leia is not already pregnant, she would have to have already have had the kid by now. And I mean, Han, he split, so
Yeah.
I never really was going to count on him to begin with.
Yeah. Peace out. What was it? Papa was a Rolling Stone. Anyway.
Exactly. But I would say ultimately this is creating a interesting dilemma of how good Filoni is doing this, because I personally think they should say that because Ezra changed time when he saved Ahsoka, 7, 8, and 9 doesn't happen anymore. Because it's not making sense of how things are going, and then how 7, 8, and 9 played out. Like, wait a minute, you told me Thrawn was back. What happened? Like, I'm confused. And then Hux run everything. So yeah. I think they should just go ahead and say that was an alternate timeline. I mean, everyone else is doing the multiverse now.
So. Marvel and Star Trek. Why not Star Wars? Right.
Right.
Please don't. Now people would get totally confused.
Yeah. Well, for the fans who panned the sequel, they won't be upset. I don't think they're quite as horrendous, but I know I understand with many of the criticisms. I do, particularly of 8. It didn't work as well as it ought.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last thoughts before we let you go? I was saying we're going to do about 15 minutes, and we never do.
It's a really good series.
It's a really good series, and we got a lot to say.
So many Easter eggs to, it's obviously that I'm probably going to rewatch the series again.
Okay.
Because there's so many things that can, bring to light, especially after our conversations that we're having about it. So I'm excited for season 2.
Okay. And we got sort of, was it Star Wars Acolyte, Star Wars what's the other sort of series coming up? I should know. Well, eventually the Thrawn movie, but that's a little ways off. The Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, those are some of the things. And then Andor, the Mandalorian,
right.
We're happy that the writers have gotten their due justice in terms of the writer's strike, and the actors are going to get due justice as well. But but that has by necessity delayed things. We're probably thinking about late 23 or into 24 for most of the stuff.
Loki's back. So
yeah, Loki's back. Right. Yeah. So that's something. Hey, that's another one we need to talk about, of course, on the fantasy Marvel side. Yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. Okay. All right. Thank you again. The dynamic sort of discussion that we always have here on Black Spaces. So we want to encourage you to subscribe and to help Black Spaces continue to thrive. Hit that like button. Please forward a comment. You can reach us here on our YouTube channel, but you can also reach us by way of we have an exclusive Facebook page, and we likewise you can catch us by way of a local podcast. All of these ways in which we are accessible. And Taliba keeps suggesting that I need to do more TikTok. Because that's what Naeem plugs into.
Yep.
So yeah, let me figure out how I get my TikTok game together here. So we get continue to build our fan base. But thank you again, Taliba, Naeem, and Taliba for all that you do. And we're going to keep ensuring that the Force stays with you. I'm Todd. And again, as we say in Black Spaces, thank you. We'll catch you on the backhand side, on the blackhand side, and in the future. All right. Peace out, y'all.
See ya.